In this video, I will briefly cover the main points of the YouTube Partnership Program from the perspective of a gamer. Fundamentally, there are two things you need to know. Firstly, gamers can become partners, and secondly, there are a lot of rules that you need to follow. So let's start by looking at what YouTube actually says. And I'll read out this statement because I think it's very important and sums up exactly what you must know. So YouTube says, video game content may be monetized depending on the commercial use rights granted to you by the licenses of the video game publishers. Some video game publishers allow you to use all video game content for commercial use and state that in their licensing agreements. Fundamentally, what this is saying is that under certain circumstances you can monetize content. The second part is saying that some video game publishers are completely fine with you monetizing their content, and we'll look at that aspect and give you some examples of companies that are happy with that. And it's also advising you to read the licensing agreements, which are very boring, but they're worth looking at. When you're looking to monetize content on YouTube, you have two options. The first option is the YouTube Partnership Program, and the second option is to join a network. And each of these two possibilities have strengths and weaknesses that you'll have to research and decide which is the best for you, and we'll touch on both of them briefly to give you a rough idea of what they are and how they work. So, let's first consider what the YouTube Partnership actually is. So basically, you get to create content and get a cut of the money that it makes. The reason it's a partnership is because you get some of the money and Google gets some of the money. You're working together in a sense. They're providing you with the ads and you're providing them with the content on which to run those ads. Now you get paid every time someone either clicks on an ad or watches an ad on the video. You get two main types of ads on YouTube. The first one is the True View ads, which are the ads that play before, during, or at the end of a video. You can usually skip them after 5 seconds, those type of ads, and when someone watches them you get paid, or if someone clicks on them you get paid. Now, very important when you're considering the partnership program is that in order to run ads on a video you must comply with copyright rules. So if you don't own all of the content, then you need permission to use it. If you don't have either, you can't run ads and your video may be taken down. If you repeatedly violate copyright rules, then you run a serious risk of having your entire channel turned off. And also, if you break the rules of AdSense, you can have your AdSense account banned, which means you can no longer monetize videos on YouTube. I should also point out that once you become a partner and start monetizing content, you pretty much give up the fair use argument. A central part of fair use is that the use is non-commercial. And if you're monetizing it, then you can't argue that the use is non-commercial. But you can still use partnership, so don't be discouraged. If you follow a few rules and learn some facts about monetizing gaming videos, it's completely doable. Firstly, I would recommend that you be selective about which ones you run ads on. If in doubt, don't run ads at all. A 5% drop in revenue is better than a 100% drop with no hope of recovery. Because if you break these rules, then you can get the monetization disabled. If you go into your YouTube settings, you'll see that monetizing will be enabled. That light can go red and it'll be turned off. As a general rule, if everything in the video belongs to you, then you are definitely allowed to run ads on that. For example, if you got some open source software and built your own game and put a video up on that, then that's okay. But of course, you have to be sure that you can prove everything you're saying about your use of the content, because YouTube can ask for it. On the other hand, if you obtain permission or pay for the use of the content, then you can run it. Though make sure that you get your permission signed, otherwise YouTube may not accept that. And furthermore, some companies are totally fine with you monetizing their content, and we'll look at them in a moment. They have on their website statements that say explicitly that you may do so. Often they will say that you can actually monetize them through the YouTube Partnership Program. I have a video which covers this in detail, and I will link to it, but for now we'll just take a quick overview. A great trick is to make videos of games from publishers that allow you to monetize their content, although be aware that they can change their policy and you may still have videos taken down, but you can get these put back up on appeal. I'd also suggest that you link to the policy page, which gives you permission to monetize, in the description. Make sure that you read the entire policy and be aware of the restrictions that it places on you. Usually these are things like don't just take the soundtrack and don't do a racist let's play. I would also advise that you don't do anything until you completely understand the policy, because if you don't follow it correctly, then they can take down the video and not allow you to put it back up because you've breached those terms. These are a few companies that actually allow you to do it. If you look up their policy, they explicitly say that you're allowed to monetize your content at the time of writing, subject to change. I go through this in great detail in another video, so see the link to that. Just to summarize a few of the points we've made so far, and to give you a slide that gives you a rough idea of some rules. I'd say that you shouldn't run ads on Let's Play or videos showing the gameplay or reviews with game footage unless you have written permission or documentation showing that you can use this material. Things like a link to the page that says that you're allowed to use the YouTube Partner Program with their content, or that you've asked and they've said yes, and if you get permission, make sure that it's signed. On the other hand, some game related videos, you can probably run ads on it. Things like a video rant about a game, a review video without showing any copyrighted footage anywhere in it, or a Q&A video. If it's like a webcam with you talking about a game, then that should be okay. Now the other thing we're going to discuss is just touching on networks. This is an alternative approach, but before you do this you should do considerable research, because one of the good things about usually the larger networks, I say larger in the sense that they are more picky. These will let you use copyrighted material because they've obtained permission for you, and in some cases will actually pay to allow that, but because they're so hard to get into, they're taking the best people and they can make a return through doing so. The networks that you want in to are not easy to get into. It reminds me of the old Groucho Marx quote, "I don't care to belong to any club that will have me as a member." It's completely relevant to this discussion. So in other words, the really good networks don't want you. If you've got millions of subscribers and tens or hundreds of thousands of subscribers, then networks will bend over backwards to get you on their network because they know they're going to make a lot of money from you, and you get a lot of perks from that. Whereas the networks that require you to have 100 views a day, they simply cannot spend that much time on each person. And to varying degrees, networks will help you with copyright. This could be as simple as just basic advice, writing it out nicely, or some will specifically check your compliance and keep you in the right. Here's a list of a few networks that are worth looking into, though this is only a start, and this isn't advice or a recommendation. This is just some of the big networks that are out there, with Machinima probably being the most famous and the most difficult to get into. So have a look at these and see what you think, see if this is right for you. And just to finish with a quick summary, you can become a partner. Just because you're making gaming videos does not mean that you're somehow exempt from the partnership program. Always consider copyright. This is extremely important for people making gaming videos, because there is people constantly, particularly bots as well, checking for compliance with copyright and taking down a whole lot of videos. So you have to be very mindful of copyright rules. Again, just to reiterate, stick to the rules. That means the rules of the partnership program, copyright rules, and the rules of AdSense, because it's the AdSense people that are paying you. And finally, consider networks. They have legitimate uses, and to some people can be immensely helpful, but be skeptical. They are obviously wanting to take their cut, and you have to decide whether you want to share with them. Are they providing any value for you? And so hopefully this video has helped you, and good luck with your partnership, and thank you for watching.